Some echoes never returned. Some ended where the city led them. Elise stayed. Mateus left. And still, Lisbon carried them both. Through rooms that remembered too much. Through walls that held silence longer than voices. But today the silence has shifted again. Not toward absence, not toward longing, just toward the weight of stone and the open water that never asked for names. This is the echo between worlds, part 8, what the river still carried. The last of the echoes, the one carried not by waiting, but by walking. I stopped beneath the tower. It didn't look like it was waiting for me. Not like the rooms, not like the streets that used to echo his name. This was stone, centuries of tide rising and falling, and still it stood. For once, I didn't feel smaller. I felt steadier, like the tower was carrying the memory for me, so I didn't have to. I leaned against the railing, watching the river stretch out. The water wasn't asking questions. It just moved forward, out to the sea, like it had always done. And I thought, maybe that's what I wanted all along. Not answers, not echoes, just the sense that world keeps moving without me. Freedom isn't forgetting. It's standing under stone this old, this patient, and realizing I don't need to hold everything anymore. The street always pulled me before. Every corner felt like it might turn back into him. Every climb dragged my thoughts down, even when the stones pushed my body up. But today, the climb was only a climb, just stone steps, just light hitting past the walls, just air moving through a city that didn't belong to us anymore. I used to walk here like a ghost, chasing shadows, counting how many turns it took before memory broke me. But this morning, the city didn't take. It gave. Breath, rhythm, the simple weight of my body moving uphill without asking for permission. I stopped at the shop on the corner, bought bread, a few vegetables, nothing special, just enough for later. And carrying that bag, I realized something. I wasn't buying for anyone else, not for a memory, not for a ghost, only for myself. Maybe freedom is this, not silence, not forgetting, just letting the climb be a climb instead of a trap. The tower gave me the river, the hills gave me the climb, and now the stairs led me higher still, not toward the city, but toward myself. There was a time when these steps felt like weight. Every creak of the railing, every shadow on the wall pressed down harder than I could bear. I used to pause halfway, unable to keep climbing, wondering if the silence inside my door would swallow me whole. But today, the stairs didn't resist me. They lifted me, step by step, as if they had been waiting not for him, but for me to return. I realized the climb wasn't about who I find at the top. It was about reaching it at all, and letting the light through the window fall on me instead of memory. The bag from the shop rested on the table. Bread, a few vegetables, enough to remind me of something simple. I didn't need a recipe. The steps were already in me. Water, salt, chop the onions, let the garlic soften in oil. It felt almost like memory, but not of him, not of loss. Just of all the kitchens I ever stood in, watching hands work, listening to pens whisper, smelling food that promised ordinary warmth. For so long, this room carried shadows, but now it only carried sound. The knife, the spoon, the steam curling up into sunlight. Cooking wasn't for him. It wasn't for us. It was just for me. And in that, there was no shadow left. Only a meal waiting to be made. I set the bowl down. Steam curled upward, but the chair across from me stayed empty. I ate slowly, each spoonful warm, steady, ordinary. It filled my body, but it didn't fill the room. I caught myself thinking, what if the seat wasn't empty? What if laughter still echoed against the plates? What if this meal was mine alone? But the what if didn't change the taste, didn't change the bread on my tongue, the warmth in my hands, the food I had chosen for myself. The ache stayed, so did the silence. The room didn't soften just because I wished it would. But I understood something then. This was how it ended, not because it had to, but because I chose it to. I chose to walk here. I chose to climb. I chose to cook. And now I chose to eat alone. Not waiting, not asking the chair across from me to fill itself with a ghost. It was my choice for it to end. And maybe that was enough. The tower gave him stone. The hills gave him breath. The stairs brought him home. The kitchen filled with warmth. And the meal ended with silence that was both empty and chosen. Mateus did not leave Lisbon unchanged. And Lisbon did not keep him prisoner. The echoes had followed him, through walls and courtyards, through streets that turned his breast heavy, through rooms that once answered back. But when he placed his spoon down, he realized the ache would remain, so would the silence. Yet neither could keep him from living, unless he let them. The river moved outside the window. It had always carried more than one story. Ellie's silence, Mateus' absence. Two halves of a weight that no single person was meant to hold alone. Ellie had found his ending in the square, when the pattern no longer repeated. Mateus found his here, at a table with one chair filled and one left empty by choice. Both endings were different. Both belonged to Lisbon. And Lisbon, in turn, carried them equally, not erasing either, not binding either, but letting both become part of its streets, its walls, its river. This was the echo between worlds, a story of stone and silence, of absence and return, of what is carried forward long after voices fall quiet. Not a story of forgetting, not a story of erasing, but a story of living, even when echoes remain. New stories are waiting, new voices, new characters. If you walked with us through the echo between worlds, subscribe, like, and share so you won't miss the one still to come. Thank you.